morning, happy Sunday, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Leesburg. Our theme for this year is Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. And our focus this month is Going Further Together. The title of our talk today is Share the Dream, and it will be given by our wonderful spiritual director, Charlene Banks. We are so glad that you joined us here today. So sit back and relax as we officially start our service by opening our sacred space. Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our virtual world. Our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind and the power of our minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be of service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly, and so it is. That always feels so good to have a reminder of our 5 pillars. Please feel free to add to the chat any comments and any prayer requests, celebrations that you would like us to include later in our service when we provide our community spiritual mind treatment, which is a form of affirmative prayer. And now we move into our time of meditation with Charlene.
Hello. So welcome and good morning. Let me just do a quick check. Does anybody hear an echo right now? Okay. Maybe it's when the video is playing. Just keep an eye on that. Perhaps we'll see what's going on. So welcome to, yikes, already October 10th. I just invite you just to settle in, because this is the time that we come to where we get to just breathe, just to be, just to sit in the silence. And so just settle in. So just taking a nice deep breath in and out. Hopefully you guys don't hear any echoes or anything. I am one with the divine. And there's only one here in this virtual room. Even though it appears that there are several different bodies going by different names, we are all emanations of the one, the divine presence. So as we just settle into our seat, letting go of any of the worry or busyness of the day, just letting it flow away from us, calling in our attention. We focus on that still small voice within each and every one of us that is the divine. And in this silence, we catch that image of ourselves, that higher self, the part of us that's never been hurt or harmed, the part of us that is always whole and is always connected. And as we lean into that part of ourselves, that higher self, we simply dissolve into it, the bigger I am presence. And in this loving energy, that which we really are, unblemished, unstained, pure spirit, we pull from that energy, we bring it into our current existence, that infinite realm of possibilities that is our higher self, has everything we ever could need and want to experience. It is the love. It is the powerful peace. It is the magnificence and beauty. It is joy unbounded. It is our true nature, that higher self. So we pull that into our current experience right here, right now. The infinite realm of possibilities becomes actualized right now. What is it? What attribute do you actualize right here, right now, in your very existence? Is it love? Is it joy? Unbounded abundance in all areas of your life? Is it ease and grace as you move through the circumstances of your existence? What divine quality do you actualize right here and right now? Make it so. Bring it in. Call it forth. You have that power. The power of attention is the power of creation. Power of creation is the power of attention. It is all one. So knowing that what we think about, we bring about, we cast our mind's eye on what we want to experience. And we embody it as if it is so. Settle in that energy for a minute or so. And so with this central focus of our energy on this attribute of who we really are, we bring our mind and our body and our attention back into the room, wiggling our toes and fingers, and just being grateful for the time that we share together in community experience. Also knowing that this energy that we have for ourselves is replicated out into the world, making the entire world even more aware of its divinity. And so as we allow this energy to be, we release it into the law, knowing that we are contributing to the enlightenment of this entire planet, our Mother Earth, and the humanity that dwells upon it. And so it is. And now we have something from Leah and family.
These are the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. Fruits of the Spirit, I am ready to receive all the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. Fruits of the Spirit, I am ready to receive. Love, are you ready? Joy, are you ready? Peace, are you ready? Are you ready to receive? These are the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. Fruits of the Spirit, I am ready to receive. Fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. Fruits of the Spirit, I am ready to receive. Love, are you ready? Peace, are you ready? Joy, are you ready? I am ready to receive. One more time, say with us. These are the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. Fruits of the Spirit, are you ready to receive? All the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. Fruits of the Spirit, I am ready to receive.
Oh, so adorable. So adorable. The little girl snapping. Oh my God. Oh gosh. All right. Let me spotlight. Hey. So welcome. I love Leah, Layla, and all the team, all the group. They're just so talented, and we're so blessed to have them as part of our community. Yay. So the talk today is Share the Dream. And what dream, you ask? Well, last week we did talk about, the community, the divine community that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King talked about when he was on the planet. And so that's the context of it. And do you remember how last week we talked about how the geese fly in a way that supports the whole group, and we kind of expanded on that. So today we're talking about sharing the dream, and I'm sure you remember the dream that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. talked about. But first, before I quote a little bit, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it would take a long time, but I'll quote you a few things. I just want to remind you that from CSL, the Home Office, the overarching organization that is international, that we have values, guiding principles. If you want to go to csl.org and read all of them, that's fine. But listen to these two. We have, one of our values is community service. And it says, we dedicate our time, talent, and treasure and expertise to the healthy and joyful evolution of our spiritual community, the community in which we live, and the greater community of the world. Don't you love that? Because in my mind, I've got some concentric circles going on, where the most innermost circle is myself, right? Now I'm responsible for my consciousness. We'll talk about that a little more. Then there's my spiritual community, you guys. And then there's the community that I live in. So when I go out to the grocery store, that's my community too. And just because they don't come home and follow me to church doesn't mean I don't have to treat them in a higher conscious way. And then the greater community of the world. So we've got this community service. We're being of service to our higher selves, our community, you guys, the people around us in our neighborhood, and then the world. That is part of our core values at CSL, which is why we're part of it, right? And the other thing is continuous improvement. Now, that's cool that that's part of our vision document, that we consistently welcome more and more of the divine nature to be realized within us and revealed through our relationships, our decisions, and our contributions to the world. So divine nature, more and more, we welcome more and more of the divine nature to be realized within us. So we're always growing, we're always learning, we're always unfolding. And when it happens within us, then obviously it should be revealed through us. And then that will ripple out into our relationships, our decisions, and to the world. That's one of our other values. So those two values for this week, they're perfect for this week. And it is part of the timeless wisdom that is new thought. You know, we call it new thought, but it's not that new. It's kind of like ancient wisdom. And you get, in my mind, because there's a whole cartoon running all the time, there's somebody like in the back going, told you, from like thousands of years ago, because it's ancient wisdom, my friends. So what's the dream that we're talking about? The dream in general is any dream that your higher consciousness puts in your being. Anything we're dreaming of that is for the highest good, it was placed there by the divine. And that means it's the impulse of the divine. But first, let's talk about Dr. Martin Luther King's dream that he had. Previous page. Hold on. Too many papers. This is what happens when one studies a lot. Okay, listen. Here he goes. I have a dream, he says, that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of the creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. All men and women. I'm going to add to it for him. Now, so he continues, and this is not exactly word for word. It's abbreviated enough to fit into today's talk. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? It's a good question. Everybody, I love this part, everybody can be great because everybody can serve. Martin Luther King Jr. continues, you don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. And then he says, one day we must come to see that peace is not merely a distant goal we seek, but that it is a means by which we arrive at that goal. So it's not the destination. Peace is not the destination. It's the road. Right? And doesn't that change how you see every daily action? If we're not, I'm reminded of myself years ago when I was going to the Celebration Center every Sunday, and it was my turn to meditate, to lead the meditation, and I was late. I was always late. Usually I'm leaving now, but you know, you got to show up for church, so I'm rushing, and I'm cutting people off, and I'm being rude so that I can go meditate. yeah, it wasn't lost on me. And I thought, what if I did not rush around to get to meditation? What if, as I travel, even that is my meditation? And then I feel like that's what they've been trying to tell me, but with me, I don't know about you, when I hear things in a certain way, I'll place them in a box over there. It's not relevant to me. But then when someone changes it a little bit and it's in different words, then I recognize it as my truth. And mind you, this is the same truth. There's only one truth. But something about the packaging, this is why we're attracted to different teachers or teachings or different writings. And no one is better than the other. Whichever makes it in is the good one, right? Whatever truth that you're attracted to, the words that somebody uses that gets into your soul and changes you, even just the tiniest little bit for the better, follow that. Because that's really you finding your way through other people. Now, why can't we just get there alone, you might ask? I know I've asked this question. I was a little bit disillusioned by some of the gurus of late that have been exposed to have been either molesters or just a terrible human being, right? But they have some pretty good teachings and people follow. And shortly, all that they did is not now trash because their humanity showed up, right? And there's a lot of leaders who now we find out, oh my gosh, he was what? Oh Lord, do we have to cancel everything they've ever done? I don't know about you, but I did wonder. I said, why should we pick a guru? Maybe picking a guru is the problem. And then I asked this question of someone who was one of the teachers of one of my classes in quantum physics. And I said, so couldn't we just find our own way? And the answer that he gave was brilliant because it still has so many layers that I'm still discovering them, and I'll talk about them here. But the answer that he gave was this. So a guru is pointing your way to the top of the mountain. Imagine you're looking at a mountain. Mount Fuji, maybe, I don't know. And do you know how many different paths you can take to get to the top of that mountain? So many different possible paths. The guru is just saying, well, here's the path that I've taken, and it's pretty well worn. So you can kind of see, because I've been down this path, and it's pretty well worn. So if you do these things, you're going the same way I went. Now, you could, however, get to the top of the mountain by forging your own path through the wilderness, through the parts that have not been, blazed. Trailblazer coming to mind. You can blaze your own trail, sure. So it's a lot harder, and then you're by yourself. So it's going to take longer to get there. It's going to take, because you're going to be discovering all the things that someone else discovered, except you're discovering them a little bit different. And it makes more sense to do it in community. And so that's the topic that I want to get to today. Why is it that it works so much better? We work so much better in groups than we do by ourselves. Turns out there's some sort of chemical thing going on. There's some sort of brain thing. I refer you back to the geese, right? So it turns out that lots of different studies have been done about group learning versus individual learning, and about the kinds of things that happen when you get a team of, let's say, scientists that are all trying to solve some problem. That team of scientists, when they work together, they're able to discover more things, ping, ping, ping off of each other, and arrive at the truth much faster than if you were to separate those individual scientists and have them go it alone. The term synchronicity comes to mind, where the total is more powerful than the sum of all of its parts. And I think that's the word I want. If not, type it in the chat. I feel like that's not the word I want. Yeah, anyway. So now, this guy, his name is Parker. I've extracted the entire article because I found it fascinating. Anybody who has done any work with newer types of learning environments, I know some of you are educators here in the room, and I know many of you are mothers or fathers here in this room. So You know how you get your kid together in a group? Maybe it's a Montessori-based learning versus and everybody sit at their individual desk, everybody work on their individual paper, and don't say a word. Well, that's more of a factory type of way of teaching the kids. But when you go to a group-based, project-focused, team-based, collaborative work, they don't even realize that they've been working. They're like, oh my God, is time up already? That's the first thing. And his name is Parker Palmer, who's done a lot of work about how to change your world through group dynamics. And the first thing is they don't realize time went by so quickly. The second thing is that when a false truth is presented to the group, that group will weed it out much faster than if you were by yourself. Now think about it in terms of misinformation. Right now, we have a lot of misinformation going on, and the groups tend to be, if you have a physical group, if you have people, and I know we have a couple Zoom groups where we get together and we bring up a topic and we play with it, we toss it around, and we tease out the part that's probably not the truth because we have each other. And sometimes if I'm too close to something, and I'll look at it and I'll say, like my dream, for example, I have a dream and I'll come to dream group and I'll look at it and my dream team, I love the name, will look at it and say, Charlene, don't you see? Because they see it from another direction and they'll give me something and that rings true for me. And I can't believe I didn't see it myself. Obviously I didn't. I have a different perspective. And so this is the group dynamic that we talk about. If a false fact, something false, is presented to the group, whether it's a group of scientists, a group of kids working together on a project, or a group of people trying to study a dream or trying to figure out what to do next, the false fact batted around in the group easily teased out from the rest of the truth, and a higher truth emerges from that. And you get higher than you could have gotten if you did it on your own. That's powerful. I also do think that when I'm by myself, I come up with things that aren't necessarily true. I'm not afraid to say, sometimes I scare myself because I go into the fear spiral of, oh no, and then what? Oh gosh, and it's all just thoughts about it. It's not even real. And the cool part about bringing someone else in is they can say, now is that the truth or is that what is that? What is that you're working with? Is that the truth about you or is that something else? So more about that in a minute. So Parker Palmer also talks about the inner life. And this is the second, so there's two parts of it, right? You're in a group with people and together you're coming up with some more amazing truth that's going to rise up and it's going to evolve the community. But don't forget that there's inner work that has to be done. Because before you get into that group, how did you wake up that morning? Did you wake up and realize your inner power? Did you tap that inner power before you showed up in that group? Because what you bring to the group is going to change that group. In fact, what you bring when you walk around is going to change the experience. So let's talk about your inner life next. So he says, Parker Palmer, the inner landscape is emotional, psychological, and spiritual. And it means that the eternal human, our humanness, is yearning to be connected with something larger than its own ego, something bigger than itself. It yearns for it. And when we engage with our inner life, when we engage with it by, I don't know what spiritual practice you have, but that's what he means, then you have a more ethical, professional practice. Whatever it is you show up for and do at work, it's more ethical if you have engaged in your inner life privately first. Now, how do you know whether you've done that or not? Check your responses to others. As you go out into this world, look around. Do you tend towards judgment and condemnation? That might mean that you're not doing as much inner work as you could do. Because Palmer says that when you connect to your higher self and you see the best about yourself, then it's likely that when you come to others, especially if you're in the medical, If you're a doctor or a nurse, this is super important, because when you come into the presence of someone else, those healthcare providers who do their inner work end up with better outcomes on behalf of their patient. And Ernest Holmes would say it's because your depth, the depth that you've contacted in yourself, has then called upon the depth of the person who you're interfacing with. He calls it deep calls unto deep. And that's where the healing happens. And so these studies apparently there's some studies that have shown that those healthcare practitioners who come into the presence of their patients with a deeper inner awareness have a better effect, have a higher rate of result on those that they interact with. So that's a good reason to do it. And I just, because we're humans, I absolutely know that I can change a situation by changing what I bring to it. And then when I come into the group, or when I come into the presence of someone else, that we're just sort of exchanging back and forth the energy that we both brought in. Luckily, the deeper and the higher, I know it's weird, right? Both deep and high at the same time. The consciousness can be both deep and high. That's more powerful than something not so deep and not so high. For example, if you are a parent, I know you've had a child come to you with a fear that is not their own, it's been given to them by, some circumstance, and that your love, your deep awareness, consciousness, and your high consciousness and you're holding the high watch, that will calm them right down. You've probably seen that before. And I know at times when I'm flung into life, right out of bed and into my life without doing my work, I see how I'm a little more susceptible to other people's fluctuating emotions. So it's even another call to me. Okay, I'm noticing that I'm judging someone. I'm noticing that they're getting me all exasperated. So that means I have to go in. And sometimes I'll just take a breath and just do it right there. Because it's just another signpost that says, wrong way, go back. You're going the wrong way. And so you probably have healed a lot of things in your life as well. I know probably 5 months ago when I first started doing many of the talks, I had this person at work that was annoying me to no end. Totally a lapdog now. Totally just yeah, okay, we'll do that. And a lot of it was just him realizing, I got this. But the other part was not letting that person fling me around. You're not going to do it. Even yesterday, I was in a class, my ministerial class. One of the students said that she changed her politics about COVID. COVID changed her politics. Because she doesn't believe in all this stuff. She doesn't believe in the shutdown, which is fine. You believe what you want to believe. But then she said she didn't believe, someone else in class had said, I'm going to do this whole me and white supremacy. I'm going to bring the teachings into our center, and I'm going to make sure that we don't leverage this idea of white supremacy, or we don't use our privilege in a bad way. And this woman who, changed her politics, she had something to say. And I just kind of watched. If I had popcorn, I would have just been watching, because not going to get me, not today. She said, I don't know why we have to mention race at all at church. I come to church to be at church, because we're all one. We're all part of the divine. And so I don't know why we even have to talk about it. And I just kept eating my mental popcorn, just nope, not today. She's not going to get me. Because, it's just, what I was thinking was, that's the privilege that you get. You get the privilege because you're white. You don't have to deal with racism at all, right? You don't. And so you don't want it in your church either. I get it. But that's the baked in privilege you have to choose not to deal with it, right? I'm black all the time. So I get to be black outside. I get to be black at church. And I didn't even realize that I was being two different kinds of people until Reverend Sunday started talking about it here. And she gave me the freedom to just be more me. And then, other people were embracing. It was awesome to be seen. It's much better to be seen and celebrated than it is to be everybody's the same. Everyone's God. It's so much cooler to say, wow, look at all the different colors of the rainbow and look at all the different cultures and let's celebrate everybody. That's much cooler. But I didn't say any of those things because I'm good. However, if I wasn't good in that moment, I'm thinking I might have said, raise hand, Zoom, and we would have gone in for it. So I'm just grateful that the consciousness that we start the day with, the inner life that we show up with in the world, affects everything around us. And like a snowball, it has an effect on everything else around us too. I didn't, since I went after that girl said what she said, my little presentation went after hers. I made sure to say my piece then as part of my presentation. So it wasn't up for debate. So there, you get ways to speak your truth without having to swallow things that you can't really stomach. Now, so again, here's the thing. Make sure you're coming at it with a higher consciousness. Let me read you this quote from Todd Michael, who wrote The 12 Conditions of a Miracle. Don't you love that title? The 12 Conditions of a Miracle? I wonder what they are. Anyway, sorry, distractions. Okay. He says, how do you feel about others who appear around you as you travel through your life? If you seriously intend to see your dream become a reality, then you will need to intentionally cultivate automatic reflexes of genuine compassion. You will have to change your attitudes and reactions, however subtle, from judgment and condemnation to selfless compassion and love if you hope to manifest a miracle. Think of it this way. Although it may sound odd, selflessness is in your own self-interest. When you begin to put the welfare of others ahead of your own dreams will begin to advance with incredible efficiency. That's cool, right? Who can serve? We all can serve. And so back to those principles, we have community service as an organization from our values document. We value community service and we value continuous improvement. And that's what we do. So for you, how do we share the dream together? How do we move forward? We want to make sure that we are personally responsible for the world. The world around us is ours to sort of take care of. And when we each take the mantle to change the world around us, then guess what? The whole world gets changed. And it happens through our actions and through our intentions. And just looking upon others, not with condemnation or judgment. And even just defensiveness is kind of a judgment too, right? I love that I was able to just watch what she said and then watch my reaction to it, and then not feel the need to defend it directly to her. I just saw it and I was like, wow, okay, there's your privilege. And when I got to speak my word. And I feel like if that's what we can do, if we can just own who we really are and speak our word, not out of defensiveness and not out of a judgment, but as a, here I am, I matter, I take up space, and I'm supposed to be here. This is what I think. And instead of against you, it's, and here I am too. Then that to me feels like a way to move forward and helping the world to just see everything in a higher, more enlightened way. Not the way I want them to see it, but in the way that the truth, that the divine is trying to be through us and as us. So we become just conduits to the divine. And I'll leave it there for you guys. All right. Let's just take a moment and go into prayer. And I just breathe into that space that we so carefully cultivated earlier in this service, this connection to the divine power that is us, as us, through us. It is not a beseeching of an external power that may smite us. No. This is the power of the divine living and moving and having its being through each and every one of us. As our hands, as our feet, as our mouths, we are the instruments of God. And with this responsibility, this power, I know that we are using it in a way to serve the highest good of all mankind. Because as I align myself with this divine power, I know that all of the qualities of God, all of the creative powers are available to me as I speak my word. And so here I speak my word for Natalie's Uncle Tony, that he continues to heal and reveal the true nature of health and well-being in his heart. And that right now, all of the resources as God working through Tony, all those resources, be they medicine, doctors, nurses, any instrument of God, that is now cooperating fully to get that heart back into 100% operating condition, perfect, whole, and complete. Every organ, every cell of his entire being are harmoniously working together yet again. Because that is the truth about Tony. That is the truth about every individual who is feeling some sort of dis-ease and uncomfortability in their life, in their body temple. I speak my word that the truth, that the wholeness of their body is being revealed. That anything unlike the wholeness is now no longer an issue. It is now fleeing, just like the darkness flees as the light comes on. That the presence of the divine is now flooding in their very being and bringing everything back to its original perfect design. And I speak my word for anyone who is just experiencing anything other than their highest expression, that right here and right now, even the tiniest little changes, the tiniest aha moments are taking root in their lives and making a big difference. Every change, even the slightest change, is part of our evolutionary path. We grow together, higher, better every day. And so I'm so grateful to be able to speak this word and to be able to know the truth about ourselves. I speak this final release into the law, letting it go and letting it be. And so it is. Amen. And let's hear from Leah and Layla again. Hold on. I should probably share that screen, huh? Just a sec. There we go.
Keep on learning, soldier. Keep on pouring, work, girl. Keep on turning.
my goodness gracious. What a wonderful message. What wonderful music. Thank you so much. And now is the time for us to bless our donations that are shared with us today. At CSL Leesburg, we believe in the law of circulation. So we are a tithing community. The donations that are shared with our center bless everyone, those who give and those who receive. Please look at the screen. There's so many ways that you can make a donation. It's easy to find a way that works best for you. You can also go to our website, cslleesburg.org, and click the donation button. We thank you so much for your support. No matter how you are giving, please take that gift physically or mentally and just place it over your heart and join me in our affirmation of oneness. The presence of spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. And now we have a special announcement.
Hey, my name is Karen Dobson. I am on the board for CSL Leesburg. And this is the time that we think about how are we supporting our leadership. I have a really fun background here. So I'm here by the gracious support of a friend. But I also want to just think about, we have Charlene, we have Tamara. How much money have they invested in themselves in support of this organization? Like, how much money have they put into this? And how can we support them going forward? I think this is a really important conversation that we like having support, but we don't know all of the features that those individuals have put into that. So I will read our group. The Conscious Giving Program is an invitation to deepen our own spiritual practice. But what is the spiritual practice? So maybe it just needs to be $10 a week, $10 a month. It doesn't matter. It's just, are you focused and engaged in supporting our teammates? So what else?
And back to you.
All right. So, there's so many ways we give our time, we give our talent, and it's so easy to find a way just to share your treasure, and you get to decide how much of your treasure you're sharing. So we have some other upcoming dates that we want to remind you of, and something that I'm seeing on the screen. What? There's going to be a special celebration for me, the newest practitioner. Guys, I'm so excited about this. It was a fun journey over 2 years, and I cannot wait to celebrate with my CSL community. So please come join us. We need to know if you are coming, because holy cow, do we have a great menu planned. So we're going to have delicious barbecue, and we need to know how much to have. So please, RSVP Charlene, let us know in the chat today if you can, so that we can place our order by this Wednesday, I believe it. Yes, this Wednesday. So that there's plenty of food for everyone. And that celebration is going to be on Saturday, October 16th at Char's house. So we need to know you're coming. Please consider joining us. I want to celebrate with you. Also, on November 14th, we're going to have our annual meeting, and this is a business meeting for members of CSL Leesburg. We do a reflection on what we've done over the past year, and we start to make our plans for the coming year. So we would love to have you join us for that date as well. As always, we have our dream study. Got ahead of myself. We're having a new class, and we postponed it. It was going to be in October, but everybody's just enjoying the fall. So we said, let's move it back to January when everybody's making their new resolutions. So change your thinking, change your life is the title of this class. I'm living proof. I once told Reverend Sunday Cote that I am the poster child for transformation. So please consider joining me, and you can sign up for that class that starts in January. Also, we have our dream study on Tuesdays. You heard Charlene mention the dream team. Think about joining them on Tuesday mornings if you're able, and also on Wednesday nights. I love checking in with everybody midweek, talking about how things are going, all kinds of things, and also holding some time for prayer. So if you like what you did today, come back and join us during the week and for our other events that we have going on. Oh my goodness, it seems like time flies. What Charlene was talking about when you're with a group doesn't even feel like that the time is over. But we have things to do. So we're going to end our sacred time together. Let us once again place our hands over our hearts. Join me in our closing affirmation. Repeat after me. I am love. I could hear you. That's wonderful. Now, look at somebody who's in the room with you, or just make eye contact with the people on the screen that you know are looking at you. And look at me if you want to, and just say, you are love. Because it is so true. And now put your hands up in the air and just remember that everything is God. It's all love. Thank you so much for joining us. If you can, stay. We're going to share our little pearls, those nuggets of wisdom from the service that just resonated with your heart. And if you have to leave us, we know that you're going to have a blessed day. Thank you so